I had the great good fortune to be born into a safari family. My mother and father emigrated from the UK to Kenya in the 50s. As a child, I listened to their stories of following marker drums through the Sahara and of getting stuck for days in the Congo in an ex-two-wheel drive British Army ambulance my father converted as an overland vehicle long before four-wheel drives were common. As a family, we went camping in Kenya most weekends. My parents loved exploring. My father bought a succession of exotic second-hand hunting cars from our then next-door neighbor, a renowned hunter. By the time I was 12, my parents were operating a safari company that took visitors to the most remote regions of East Africa. When I came back for the summer holidays from boarding school in the UK during the 70s, I would often accompany the safari crews in the back of a Bedford truck, helping pitch camp and take care of guests on safaris that were commonly 3 or 4 weeks in duration. By the time I finished school, they had launched what was to become one of the most popular and adventurous one-week safaris in Kenya during the 3 decades it ran. It was dubbed the toughest bus ride in the world, and I consider myself very lucky to have been a driver of the Turkana bus. It was my baptism by fire. By the time I worked for my father for 4 years, I knew I wanted to be an independent operator. It did not make sense to start in Kenya, so I consciously explored several sub-equatorial African countries for a place that would complement my parents' safari company. In the footsteps of generations of explorers and pioneers, I discovered the gem of Botswana and the Okavango Delta. In 1983, Maun really was a two-horse town. I arrived here when photographic safari companies were small fry compared to the trophy hunting business. But in the early 90s, the government of Botswana made some very far-sighted policy decisions to encourage non-consumptive tourism, and I have witnessed firsthand the growth of the tourism industry and the incredible changes that have occurred here in the last 36 years. For first-time safari goers, there is always a sense of trepidation. Wild animals, unusual noises and experiences, sleeping in a tent in Africa, it can all be a bit overwhelming. But managed correctly, it is an opportunity to strip away the fog of modern civilization and to exercise the senses for the purpose evolution intended. Sights, sounds, smells, all unedited by modern man's plethora of distractions. A safari will not just be a fun time with family and friends, it really leaves you with all your senses invigorated. It is an adventure holiday that can, and often does, change the way you see the world. It is an extraordinary thing to witness, and I'm still humbled to be able to help someone see, smell, and taste Africa and life unfiltered. A safari is an opportunity to detox from the modern world, watching a sunrise, listening to lions roar in the night, drinking a cup of coffee around a campfire. These are simple pleasures, but ones which ultimately give one a sense of perspective on the wonder of life. I think that people crave the wilderness for its unapologetic simplicity. Once our guests have got over the culture shock of not being connected to the internet, they truly begin to relax. An African safari is the essence of adventure and relaxation. A mobile safari in Botswana with us is the purest form of that idea. We combine the elements of wildlife, wilderness, great service, adventure, and learning into one package. We call it the true meaning of safari.